Came home early from the rig to find my girl cheating. Ended up saving her dad from her crazy mother. My name's Harold. Most folks just call me Hal. I'm 37 years old, born and bred in West Texas. I'm a big guy, dark hair, hands permanently stained with grease, no matter how hard I scrub with the orange pumice soap. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. My old man is still kicking around out near Odessa, tough as old boot leather. Mom passed a long time ago. I got 2 sisters and a brother scattered around the state, all doing their own thing. Me? I never had the patience for college. I went to trade school, learned how to fix big things that break, and headed straight for the oil patch. I work derricks on a rig out in the Permian Basin. It's brutal work, hotter than hell in the summer, freezing in the winter, and dangerous all year round. But the pay is damn good. The schedule is usually 2 weeks on, 1 week off. That's 2 weeks living in a man camp in the middle of nowhere, busting my ass 12 hours a day, missing real life. For the last 2 years, real life meant coming home to Jenny. Jenny was 33, a real looker. Bottle blonde hair, these gray-green eyes that could convince you to do just about anything. We were living together in a nice little house I was renting near San Angelo, far enough from the patch to feel like civilization. I paid the bills. She worked part-time at a boutique in town, mostly for fun money. I loved her. I was seriously planning on buying a ring next hitch. I thought she was the one to finally settle this roughneck down. Boy, was I a stupid sumbitch. It was a Tuesday, about 10 days into my 2-week hitch. We had a serious issue on the rig, a mud pump failure that blew some seals and caused a minor kick. Nothing catastrophic, but it meant we had to shut down drilling operations for at least 48 hours while specialized parts and crews were trucked in. The company boss, not wanting to pay us to stand around scratching our asses, sent the regular crew home early. I didn't call Jenny. I wanted to surprise her. I drove the 4 hours home, pushing 90 miles per hour, imagining the look on her face, thinking about a home-cooked meal and a warm bed. I pulled into my driveway around 8 p.m. There was a car I didn't recognize parked right behind her sedan, a little flashy sports coupe, the kind that screams, "I'm trying too hard." My gut twisted. You work in the patch long enough, you hear stories. Rotational widows, they call them. Wives who get lonely while hubby is making the money. I always thought Jenny was different. She was always posting that strong, independent woman stuff on Facebook, always talking about loyalty. I unlocked the front door quietly. The house smelled good, like steak and expensive candles, not the stuff she usually cooked for me. I walked toward the dining room, and there it was, my dining table set for a romantic dinner for 2, and my girlfriend, wrapped around some dude. They were kissing deep, right there where I eat my breakfast. I didn't yell immediately. I pulled out my iPhone 5, hit record, and got about 10 seconds of clear footage of them sucking face in my house. Then I cleared my throat loud enough to rattle the windows. They jumped apart like they'd been electrocuted. Jenny looked like she'd seen a ghost. The guy, some short, wannabe rapper-looking dude, skinny as a rail with his pants sagging, looked terrified. "Hal, baby, you're home early," Jenny squeaked, trying to stand up and fix her shirt at the same time. "I wasn't expecting you." "Clearly," I said, my voice dead calm. I walked right past her to the shrimp. "Get out!" The little dude tried to puff his chest out. "Yo, man, chill out. We were just talking." I didn't have time for his noise. I grabbed him by the back of his sagging waistband and the scruff of his neck, marched him to the front door, and tossed him onto the lawn like a bag of trash. "Don't come back," I said, slamming the door. I turned back to Jenny. The waterworks had started. "Hal, please, listen, it's not what it looks like. I was just lonely. You're always gone." "Shut your mouth," I snapped. "Don't give me that bullshit excuses, you slut. You dirty my home with your heat-seeking behavior like a bitch in season, and you have the nerve to try and blame me? Get the fuck out of my place!" "But I live here," she screamed. "Not anymore. You got an hour. I'm calling your folks to come get your trash." I called her dad, Mr. Miller. Good man, worked 30 years in a canning factory. I told him straight. "Frank, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I caught Jenny cheating in my house. You need to come get her and her stuff right now before I throw it on the street." It was the longest hour of my life. Jenny sat on the couch crying and trying to spin her narcissistic web, blaming the oil field, blaming my emotional distance, whatever. I just sat in my recliner, drinking a beer, staring at the wall. When Frank and her mom, Linda, arrived, it was tense. Frank looked devastated. He walked straight up to me and shook my hand. "Harold, son, I am so damn sorry. I am ashamed." But Linda, that woman was a piece of work. She immediately went to Jenny, hugging her and glaring at me. "Well, what did you expect, Harold? Leaving a vibrant young woman alone for weeks? She has needs. You're overreacting." Frank spun around. "Linda, shut the hell up. Our daughter is a liar and a cheater, and she did it in this man's own home. Don't you dare defend this." He apologized one last time. They loaded Jenny's crap into their truck and they left. I thought that was the end of it. It was just the beginning. A week later, I'm back on the rig and my phone starts blowing up. Jenny had started a smear campaign in town, telling everyone I was controlling, abusive, that I abandoned her emotionally, and that the guy was just a friend supporting her. In a small Texas town, gossip spreads faster than a prairie fire. People were giving me sideways looks at the grocery store when I got back. I'd had enough. I took that 10-second video clip from my iPhone and posted it on Facebook, tagging her. No caption needed. Just the truth. It destroyed her narrative instantly. The likes on her pity posts dried up real quick. But the damage wasn't just to us. Frank couldn't take Linda defending Jenny's behavior anymore. Their marriage, which had always been rocky because of Linda's nagging, finally cracked. Frank filed for divorce. Things got ugly fast. Linda, desperate to get the upper hand and half his pension, filed for a restraining order, claiming Frank had become violent and hit her. The night of the alleged attack, I was sitting on my porch around 11 p.m. nursing a whiskey. A truck pulled up. It was Frank. He looked like hell. He was holding a bloody shop rag to his forehead. "Frank, what happened?" I rushed down the steps. He slumped against his truck. "She went crazy, Hal. We were arguing about the divorce. She picked up a ceramic vase and whipped it at my head. Then she said she was calling the cops to tell them I hit her. He didn't have anyone else. His family was gone or moved away. I was the only one who knew the truth about his daughter and wife. We're going to the ER, Frank. Get in my truck." "Nah, Hal. It's fine. I just need to sit a minute. I ain't going to the hospital. It's embarrassing. A man don't report his wife." "Bullshit," I told him. "Look at what these women are doing to us. Jenny lied about me, and now Linda is lying about you to ruin your life. You need a paper trail. You need this documented because if you don't, she's going to paint you as a wife beater in court and take everything you worked for." I practically forced him into the truck. At the ER, he got 6 stitches. I made the doctors document exactly what he said happened. Then I drove him to the police station and stood right there while he filed a domestic assault report against Linda. He hated doing it, felt like it wasn't manly, but I knew it was survival. A few months later, I sat in a courtroom for their divorce hearing. Linda's lawyer was trying to paint Frank as a monster. Then Frank's lawyer called me to the stand. I testified about Frank showing up bleeding, about taking him to the hospital. They entered the police report and medical records into evidence and completely dismantled Linda's claims of abuse. Back then, around 2010 or so, Texas law was still pretty straightforward. You prove fault, like cruelty, and it impacts how things get split up. The judge saw right through Linda. Frank got to keep his pension and most of his assets. He was free. A couple of weeks after the verdict, Frank came by my place. We sat on the porch drinking cold Millers as the West Texas sun went down. We didn't talk for a long time, just enjoyed the quiet. "You know," Frank said finally, looking at the label on his beer bottle, "Jenny wasn't always like that. She used to be sweet, full of dreams, kind." He took a long pull of his beer. "I messed up, Hal. I let Linda fill her head with nonsense. All that empowerment garbage, telling her she didn't owe nobody nothing, that she had to find herself no matter who it hurt. I didn't put my foot down when she was a teenager, didn't set boundaries. I let that poison rot my little girl's brain. I didn't know what to say to that. It wasn't my place to tell a man how he raised his kids. I raised a monster," Frank whispered, eyes watering a little, "and I'm sorry she unleashed it on you." We clinked bottles. 2 men, burned by the same fire, just trying to heal up before the next hitch. "It is what it is, Frank," I said. "At least we got the truth on our side now." That night on the porch wasn't the end of it, though. That police report we filed and the medical records from the ER, They ended up being the silver bullet in Frank's divorce case. Linda's lawyer tried every trick in the book to paint her as the victim, but hard documentation doesn't lie. The judge saw right through her smoke and mirrors. About 6 months later, I was back home on a 7-day rest. I heard a truck pull up out front. It was Frank. He looked different. Lighter, like a 100-pound sack of cement had been lifted off his shoulders. He didn't come empty-handed. He was carrying 2 extra-large Meat Lovers pizzas from Pizza Hut and a 6-pack of cold ones. We sat at my kitchen table, the same one where I'd caught his daughter, and ate like kings. Between slices, he filled me in. The divorce was final. It wasn't a total victory lap, though. Texas is a community property state, so even with her acting crazy, the court ordered them to sell the house they'd lived in for 30 years and split the cash down the middle. It hurt him to lose that house, I could tell, but the price of freedom ain't cheap. Linda got her half and took off to Florida to live with her sister, Frank said, wiping tomato sauce from his beard. Good riddance. Then he told me his plan. He was done with Texas, done with the heat, and done with people. I'm taking my share of the house money, he said, his eyes lighting up for the first time in months. I found a listing up in Alaska, way out in the sticks, near Fairbanks. 5 acres of timberland and a small cabin for about $80,000. No neighbors for miles, just moose and snow. He looked me dead in the eye. I couldn't have done it without you, Hal. That night, I came here bleeding. You saved my life. I mean that. Frank headed north a few weeks later. We still talk on the phone every now and then when he gets into town for supplies. It's a damn strange thing to realize I lost a girlfriend, but gained a real friend in her father because of how toxic those women were. Sometimes I wonder how a good man like Frank managed to survive living in that asylum with Jenny and Linda for so long without snapping. He earned that quiet cabin up north. If anyone deserves a peaceful retirement away from the drama, it's him. Editor's note. Gentlemen, take a lesson from Frank. If you are ever attacked or abused by a partner, document everything. It might feel embarrassing, but that piece of paper can save your life in court. Go to the hospital. File the police report. Even if the cops don't do anything in the moment, that record creates a paper trail that shields you from false accusations later. Swallow your pride and get it on record. Don't let a false narrative destroy your future.